Hi, this is Carrtoons, and you're listening to the Cabbages Hip Hop Podcast.
Yes, Jeff.
Wise men say
Don't.
only fools rush in,
You don't have to do this.
but I can't help hating this bad movie. This is a bad movie, Gary.
Well, it's
You
not really up
handed
to
me
you
the
to make that
lead.
call. It's not really up to
You
you.
handed me the lead, Gary.
Look, we will see what actually happens on this, but there is there's no sure things. There are no sure things, and I have my reasons for picking this movie, and we will delve into all of it certainly during this episode.
It better be a good reason.
It'll be worth your time. It'll be worth your time. Maybe
You made these poor people watch this film.
Well, you know, we did what we did. This is what we do on the show. We talk about.
It's true. So this is, we both kind of fall back on this. Like anytime we're accused of like screwing this up, we're like, well, they're supposed to be bad.
Well, this season we
it's
named
such a
it.
coping mechanism. I love it. I love it.
We called it a bad movie battle.
No, it was a bad movie battle. And you threw a bad movie at us.
Yeah, I sure did. That's a thing that happened, and that's a thing that happened. No, but also I want to also point out, like, just because a movie's a bad movie doesn't mean it's not successful. Like, this movie didn't entirely recoup. It had like a 40 million budget, and it came in, I think it ended up grossing something like, close to that, in the mid to high 30s for sure. Actually, if I have it here, it was, again, a $40 million budget. And then a $36 million box office. So that's
like so much better than most of the films we've picked thus
exactly.
Far, I feel like they've all been just like absolute flops.
The director in this film was somebody who directed successful Hollywood movies. The screenwriter was a successful screenwriter. The stars were stars at that time.
People were really into seeing Sharon Stone naked too. People were super into it. She'd already done Playboy. She'd already done Basic Instinct. And then this one, they were like, got to.
And not only was that the case, but also, and this is something worth keeping in mind, it was #1 opening weekend.
Yeah.
It was the #1 movie in the country. People wanted to see Sharon.
A lot of people saw this. So like, there's not even this world where like, we're watching an older film and it's got a really bad rating or no rating because just not that many people watched it. You know what I mean? Like a Hot to Trot, where like, of course it deserves a 0 in a lot of ways, but like probably would have somewhere closer to 5 or 6 if people watched the movie.
Right.
They didn't. This one, the fucking results are in. Everyone saw it and we all kind of universally agree this movie sucks.
Well, we will see about the consensus, but certainly the Rotten Tomatoes score of 11%, it wasn't encouraging on that. But the fact that it was a #1 movie in America,
no, totally
did in terms of initially coming up with choosing
that's not
which
the
of the many erotic thrillers to choose from for this.
But that's not the reason you chose it. You didn't choose it for that reason.
No. We'll get into that later. We've got great guests on this one, and we'll let the team just decide if this is a good bad movie or not. You already have your bias in place, so you just want to win this thing. So I don't.
And now stop. I'm willing for you to talk me into believing that this was fun at all.
Well, like I said, we're talking.
I'm ready. I'm ready to be talked into it. I am. I love bang flicks.
We'll be right back. I'm very excited to introduce our guest for today's show. Joining us now is Carrtoons. This past 420, the multi-instrumentalist and producer dropped a must-hear project called Homegrown. Sounding somewhere between Dilla and Daptone, the record includes features by DJ Harrison and Tennis Shoe and is available wherever music is streamed or sold. Also joining us is Regan Hofmann. She's a freelance writer and editor based in New York City. And here's a fun fact. She's also my wife. Hello and welcome to Cabbages.
Hello.
Hey, what's up, y'all?
Gary, I just want to jump right in and say thank you so much for not doing the Borat, my wife, on that. I know it was tempting. I know you wanted to.
You know, I do it so much around the
back.
house.
Right.
It only made sense to kind of show some restraint.
The internet's had enough of Borat, my wife voice, I feel like.
You know, I feel like I've already revealed enough about my personal life on this show. There's no reason to bring that
just
into
the one thing.
You know, and not on an episode as erotic as this one. We obviously have to keep things in a certain tone, which is appropriate for this episode. So I think I'd love to know from each of our guests, and Ben, let's start with you. What's your history with the genre of erotic thriller?
I would say this is this feels before my time, really. You know, like this feels like maybe I feel like I missed whatever is going on in this movie. I was like, this was allowed. And I, you know, one of the notes I had made for myself was Gen Z would have a field day. And and I'm somewhere in the middle, and I feel like I've only seen like a couple things. What was that movie with Michael Douglas?
Disclosure. I want to talk about Disclosure, but I'll let you go first.
Well, I've seen that, and I've also seen the one with the rabbit. What the hell is that one called?
Oh, Fatal Attraction, the classic.
Fatal Attraction. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that's like the most hot and heavy, movie I'm familiar with from this genre.
It's probably the last time Glenn Close was ever considered hot and heavy.
True.
First and last.
First and last, but man, left an impression on some young minds for sure.
Sure did.
Definitely scarred me for life. But yeah, this was one of my first. So
okay.
Yeah, I feel like I'm in the same boat. I remember when these movies were coming out. I was old enough. I was aware of what was happening, but I was like 8 years old. And the whole idea of sex, it was horrifying to me. I didn't understand it. I didn't know what it was all about. It was disgusting and creepy. And movies like these, which you'd see the box in the Blockbuster or the trailer on TV, just solidified that sex was not something I wanted to any part of. So I never saw any of these movies.
We can come back to this point after we're done with this intro, but it seems like Sharon Stone also didn't want to have any sex in this film.
Yeah, let's just jump right in.
Cried through every single orgasm.
Well, Jeff, you have to understand her ex-husband was very boring.
Very boring guy. Okay.
I kept waiting for the reveal that this husband was going to be some kind of monster for the way that this woman reacts to just even touching herself, not even with someone else. She's just weeping. She's miserable at the thought of it.
No calls to the therapist in this film.
No,
it's wild to me.
I was sure the ex-boyfriend was going to come through and somehow be the killer in the end of this movie. But no, we just went a completely other direction.
No, as with so many things in this movie, they mentioned him multiple times and then nothing came of it.
It was the least effective of all the movie's red herrings. And I include Tom Berenger as a red herring, even though he is ultimately revealed to be the killer. Because, well, I'm sorry, but we're talking about these things. It needs to be revealed. Because right from the start, there's no way that guy, in any sense, is meant to be the person who is the killer. There is a different ending to this movie originally. I just want to put that out there right now. I think that
was a totally
there's no sense in dancing around this.
No.
The original ending of this film tested so
by the
poorly.
way, just as baffling.
Oh, just as baffling, but tested so poorly, perhaps more baffling, actually. Tested so poorly that the best they could come up with was, it's Tom Berenger.
Right.
Like, I couldn't have
had to go right to Wikipedia at the end of this movie. I was like, there's no way that's what they meant to do. So there's
too many reasons why he can't be the killer. The main reason is that where does this man have any control over the lights in this building?
Oh yeah.
At no time has this man showed any prowess with electricity or electrical equipment or anything in general. He
Are
can't
killers
even get it up.
genuinely like generally electricians? Can we say that? I feel like society gets mad when you say things like that.
Well,
But
I
are
think
they?
this is the kind of podcast where we can go there. So
Wow.
we can
Wow.
go
Oh,
there.
I love it. I love it.
I mean,
That's
specifically, you can go places. You can just go. Actually, Jeff, it's fine.
How dare you? So my history with this particular style of film is deep. I love, but here's the thing. There's two different kinds of things. There's erotic thrillers, which we did not watch, and then there's bang flicks. And this was a bang flick. This was just stack a bunch of hot people in a room and let them bang, and we'll throw the plot together, at some point. We'll film
I forget sometime that you're a real cinephile and you understand all the genre and subgenre nuances.
When it comes to this type of film, you're absolutely right. So I have seen Sliver before. I saw it when I was young, and it is remarkable that after now my, I guess, third or fourth watch of this film, I still only remember the sex scenes. They're just like nothing is memorable.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Not even the sex scenes are memorable.
Not
You
really.
remember
other than
Sharon
the crying,
Stone.
and it's really funny, and she's hot. They're both.
Yeah. Sharon Stone is attractive.
They're both hot.
And she's crying. But nothing about that sex leads you to believe it's actually very good.
No.
Nothing about what they're doing looks particularly interesting.
I will say they did a great job making Billy Baldwin be like, I really want to bang more right now.
Oh,
because if I were him, I totally would be like, yeah, all the time until you're ready to stop.
He took that just to get laid, really. I mean, the scene that really sticks with me, besides the sex scenes, is the one at the dinner table.
The restaurant scene, yeah.
That's interesting. That one, they were doing something.
Yeah, I feel like that was like the iconic scene that I'll remember for a while. Specifically when he makes a Zoolander blue steel face, and then she shows her vagina right afterwards.
And all the old people sitting around them are making like Caddyshack level reactions.
Yes. What? I love
like eyeballs popping out.
The people in the background of that scene are like so wildly unnecessary.
Don't forget though the busboy too. The busboy's reaction is amazing.
Oh, most definitely. They're all completely unnecessary. So we could have had any reaction out of them, and all of them picked, cartoon.
They all went zoinks.
They all were just like, oh, I'm gonna bend, but like, panty.
They're in a classy Manhattan restaurant, real high pricey sort of thing, like a Maria, like a real nice joint. Yeah. Where an older couple can go out for a conservative dinner where they don't speak to each other. And then here comes this little game, game between these, 30 somethings. And it's extraordinary to me. The first thing that I noticed with that was obviously the kind of connection to Basic Instinct and showing vagina. But the question that I found more interesting afterwards, was, is this a comedy? Is this supposed to be a comedy?
Exactly. Why is it all of a sudden a Peter Sellers film?
That whole scene is played for jokes, not for
looks like that scene looks like it's from Revenge of the Pink Panther. It's like straight up a Blake Edwards thing.
Yeah. The butt should have dropped a plate of spaghetti on someone's head.
Oops, I know, right? A cartoon wolf should have been in the background going, Aruga, Aruga.
There's no reason for that scene other than for us to say, actually, we're trying to be funny here. We're actually parodying this. And unfortunately, the organization of this film leads everyone to believe that people really weren't trying to be funny. This was just someone's idea of what might be interesting.
That's what they see high society doing. Never having sex, like really surprised that people would be doing something wild and naughty. Like, oh, naughty.
And what's more surprising, I think, since we're all New Yorkers here, I think we can all speak to this, is that anybody in a building would talk to anybody else who lives in their building. Do you know the names of anybody in your building? Who has not accidentally gotten your mail?
Yeah, I mean,
Fair.
one or two.
Yeah.
When you first saw them, did you say anything to them?
No.
It took like 2 years where I talked to anybody in this building.
Yeah. I'm very weird like that. I definitely take a while before I'm gonna be like, hey, what's your name, by the way? We see each other every day.
I have a lot of friends already, and I don't like. I have to be around people a lot, and I just don't want more people. Enough. Leave me alone, everybody.
Which is the New York attitude. That's how everyone feels.
Yes, that's exactly right. It's
the
like
belief that someone living in Midtown.
Now the time that I'm
in the Sliver building,
the Sliver building,
was the time I have in my house should not be dominated by more humans.
Exactly.
I don't want to talk to anybody.
Yeah, we know.
Within like 10 blocks of my apartment.
You're gonna.
Which is there a significance of the Sliver building that I'm missing right now?
No.
Or was it
no? Except that woman was murdered there.
Oh, right.
Exactly.
I mean, just like the idea
for no reason.
Sliver. For no reason.
Why? Like, okay.
There is.
Can we just get into the murders in this film?
I'm sorry.
Can we get into the murders of this film?
No, I don't. I want to answer his question first.
Okay, go ahead.
And the answer to your question, sir, is that Sliver has about as much significance as can be taken from a film that is based on a book by Ira Levin that bears no resemblance to the book beyond there being a building and the book being called Sliver.
Wait, hold on. There's not a lot of banging in the book. Do they bang a lot?
The book, the movie and the book have nothing in common. It's like it was.
So it's not even a bang book?
It was optioned because Robert Evans, legendary producer Robert Evans at Paramount, basically tricked Ira Levin into letting them adapt the screenplay, buy the rights to the book so they could have an adapted screenplay. Nah. Ira Levin has nothing to do with this movie.
Incredible.
But he got some money for it, and that's about it. I think he got like $250,000 or something. Like it wasn't even like much. This is like Ira Levin. This is like the boys from Brazil. This is like somebody who actually.
That dude sold some books. He didn't need that little money for this sullying his good name.
He didn't want to, but Robert Evans made him think that maybe this would be a good idea, and it was not.
It would have been amazing if he just started writing all erotic novels after this. Was so inspired by it that he just like
actually, you know what? You guys were right. This is where I should go.
The hell with Rosemary's Baby.
You know, hot people
Let's
banging
talk about Rosemary.
We don't treat hot people banging with enough reverence. I think he would bring a new level to hot people banging.
I agree.
I'm with that.
Jeff, you want to talk about murder for some reason?
Okay, the murders in this film. There's one where a woman that looks exactly like Sharon Stone opens the movie getting thrown out of a building for no reason.
Exactly is really pushing it. She was also blonde.
They looked, I mean, that shot and everything about it was meant to kind of fool you into believing it was Sharon Stone. And then the big surprise 30 seconds later is that the star of the film is alive and is a book editor.
Were you fooled by that, Jeff?
No, but that's what they were trying to do.
Okay, because that woman.
Am
really
I wrong that they were
like
trying
Sharon
to do that? Because
Stone.
then later this neighbor dude is like, "You look a lot like that person," as if to hammer home,
Yes.
"Look what we did to you."
Yeah,
We
the
did
movie wants you to believe, and they say over and over and over again, "Oh my God, you look just like her." But those women look nothing alike.
No, not at all. But like
Princess Diana.
They were trying to fool us for some reason, and I don't understand why. Because nobody, the killer nor our boy, watches everybody. McGee.
Zeke Hawkins. Remember
Zeke
that
Hawkins.
name, for God's sake.
No, I can't.
There's a wealthy man named Zeke. That hasn't happened since the Beverly fucking Hillbillies.
Real talk. So Zeke here, he doesn't have like a pattern where he only bangs people that are blonde or anything.
No, among the red herrings, and I'm sorry if I'm stepping on this.
Please go.
No.
Among the red herrings is this theory that Tom Berenger posits, which is that Zeke's mother was a blonde actress who allegedly also looks like Sharon Stone. She fucking doesn't. She's a blonde lady. and they're presenting it as like, oh yes, Zeke Hawkins loves to fuck his mother and then kill her. This is the idea that they're putting forth. Except for the fact that he also fucks this brunette model
right
across the hall who looks nothing like either of them. And those two blonde ladies don't look anything like Sharon Stone.
Right. So they have this going and it doesn't work. And that links back to this first murder that could have just been a murder. But instead we got to have all this like weird, why was it happening thing vibe going on in the whole movie. Like,
right.
Who could have done such a thing? Second murder, this guy's like, hey man, I'll tell you the story about your, like the person who was in your apartment before. And he's got to die.
Was he murdered though? Or did he actually just fall in the fucking shower?
I mean, I guess you could interpret it. I'm not a cop, so I don't know.
You're definitely
I'm not going to like do an investigation or anything, but
Ben, what do you think?
Very unclear the whole time. I was convinced that he was killed. But then,
well, I mean, like, why would we even mention it then?
Now that I'm thinking about it, maybe he just died though. Maybe he was
old.
He was
an old man. He fell in the shower, it seemed like.
And he wasn't that hot, so he was getting in the way of the hot people banging.
I did not need to see that naked old guy at all. We could have definitely cut that out of the movie for sure.
My favorite part of the old guy is that for no reason whatsoever, he like talks about how he works at the university as someone who studies like new ways of like camera work and like
that was the classic
building
Law and Order.
security. Yeah.
You know, like we gotta give you like this is our first bad guy, but you're like, this isn't the guy though. I mean, we're like 5 minutes into this shit. You kidding me?
Which
Law and
makes
Order
his
would have
death
kept the story tight as fuck, and it would have been. Dave meandered so much more than a Law and Order episode.
His death, especially coming so quickly into the film after laying that groundwork, completely. We don't even really know anything yet, and he's dead. It's like all they had to do was send him to Japan like they were supposed to, and then it wouldn't have mattered. He would have been ruled out as a killer. He
mentions that he's about to go to Japan. He mentions that he's leaving.
I forgot that.
He could have just gone.
He gives us so much information that has no bearing on the film, and then they axe him. And then at the end, they're like, oh, what happened to this pretty blonde girl? Nobody investigates his death. Nobody goes back and is like, wait, did that guy fall in? Because I want to know, that guy fall in the shower or did somebody fall him in the shower?
It would have been really easy for this movie to have connected the dots and made that guy the person who set up Billy Baldwin's surveillance system.
It's all right there.
They put it right there. You've got A.
That's true.
You've got B. Just get to C, man. And they fucking didn't do it. They killed him instead.
But never did they get to see.
But like, it all makes sense because Zeke Hawkins, Billy Baldwin, he designs computer video games.
I own the building.
And he owns the building. Why
mine.
was the owning the building reveal completely non-shocking in any way, shape, or form? Why was just like nobody, no character was surprised by it? Even when Tom Berenger mentions it, of course, she already knows that point. When Tom Berenger, we got to talk more about, mentions it to Sharon Stone, she's like, yeah, he told me. And it's like, okay. So we all agree. This is no one particularly.
Why wasn't that the reveal though? Like, why wasn't Tom Berenger's character given the license to like, make her more confused? The whole movie seemed to hinge on the fact that like those two dudes were supposed to confuse us as to who was really evil.
Right.
But like, there's not a lot of confusion. Two things are evil. Those dudes. That's
just different types of evil.
The whole fucking point of the movie is these dudes fucking suck. Sharon Stone is terrible at picking dudes.
Well, she doesn't.
What we're here to learn.
She doesn't pick them. They pick her.
Berenger, that guy forces himself on her.
Jumps out
the whole film.
And gasps at her in like a black hoodie.
Okay, except let's give Sharon Stone some fucking agency here. She could have told either of these guys to fuck off at any point in time, and she didn't. Even after Tom Berenger leaps out at her in Central Park with his hood up like a fucking stereotype mugger. And she's just like, you know what? I'll see where this is going. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
To never fucking talk to you again.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what? Do something.
No, there's a good explanation for this. You see, her husband
a book editor?
Was very boring.
Her husband was very boring. Sure. How many times did they mention that? Did you keep it in the notes? I lost count.
We lost count around 4 or 5, I
Oh my
think.
God.
They mentioned it.
They just
so
kept
many
mentioning
times.
it.
Did you know, Ben, that the husband was boring? Did you catch that?
You know, to be honest, I wasn't as highly aware of that as you guys were. I just was so mad at her character by the end of it. Maybe I wasn't, maybe they didn't tell me enough times, because one of the notes I did make was that at this point, she deserves to get killed because her just sense of intuition is so bad.
That's true.
I mean, like, to be sitting in that room of TVs and then like be like, you know what? I'm gonna just be part of this scheme. This seems cool.
I'm gonna see where this
like,
goes.
This seems like a cool guy. Like, maybe this guy's gonna invent Amazon one day. Who knows?
Yeah, there are so many
what
moments.
was he, a video game computer?
He designed computer video games.
The first
That's right.
time that he hacks into her office computer
Right.
to send her a emoticon
In
road,
1993.
In MS Paint.
that's when you get the restraining order.
Yeah, let's
Right.
talk about that. Was she aware of that? Like, who was doing that at the time? She
not. Only figured out there was a reference to it in there, like something that they had said in the conversation. I forget exactly what.
It
But
might have
like,
been
yeah.
the most nuanced part of the film.
But there's nothing romantic about hacking WordPerfect 97.
Yeah.
Although it was 93, so
Yes.
it would have been that would have been revolutionary. Maybe that's what he was working on. WordPerfect 97.
It's like, baby, take this disc and put it in your computer and install it. Then I'll be able to talk to you all day.
Take this series of 17 discs and put them in one at a time.
So that I can talk to you at work.
What kind of video games do you think that he made? I have an opinion. You'll be shocked to know.
I mean, I can only go by what was on like the walls, like
Microsoft Paint
walls in his thing. Like, what do you think he made?
Microsoft Paint.
He had a Civilization poster up.
He did, and he also had a 9 Inch Nails broken poster, which explains some of the more industrial songs that are on the soundtrack, although none being.
I'm not ready to talk about the soundtrack.
No. No, it feels like that's an hour 3. We talk about that.
Right.
Do we need to pause?
Okay.
Each other?
So then murder number 3. What is murder number 3?
You're losing track of the murders you wanted to talk about.
Okay, the
murders,
neighbor,
Jeff.
right?
The neighbor.
That's the next murder.
In the stairwell or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
You're talking
To
about
which
Vida.
Their idea of a red herring for the dude that ends up being the killer is to dress him up like a killer, like every single killer that's ever been filmed in TV history. Like black stocking cap folded up so you can still see everything about his facial features and hair color. Great idea. All black running clothes and a black hoodie.
I almost forgot that's
7:30 in the morning,
suspense.
and everyone else is in like no winter clothes. And this guy rolls in like a killer's uniform and is holding a bloody, lifeless body. And then they're like, yeah, it was him. Oh, really? It was? No shit.
And then the movie keeps going after that. Like this is billed from the start as a whodunit, and immediately at that point, that's where you end a movie. Then you basically have no more than like 10 minutes left in any decent film to tell us otherwise.
The original ending of the film, I believe, if I read it correctly.
Oh, you didn't watch it?
Oh, it's out there?
Oh, you can go on YouTube and watch it, my friend.
Oh, I'm gonna watch it.
But you can watch it.
Let me describe it, and then you can correct me where I'm wrong.
I mean, we're all just describing.
It's like one of your favorite things to do anyway, so I'm just gonna play right into it. They take a little trip together because that's what people do after day 3. And they take a little trip together and they go on a helicopter. And on that helicopter, dude is like, yeah, I killed those people. And she's like, cool, man, I'll protect your secret. And they fly into a volcano.
At least there's payoff with the volcano in that scenario. I will say, at least we tie up one thing. I'm actually with that
17 loose ends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me expand on that a little bit.
Okay, please.
So the original ending, the idea was that this Tom Berenger thing happens, and then like any decent thriller, the conclusion is actually he's not the killer, it's Zeke. So Tom Berenger actually has been set up or whatever, but it's actually Zeke who's the killer. And because of how they do it, there was one crucial scene between that and when they're in the helicopter in Hawaii. And that's they get married. Because you know that a husband and a wife can't tell on each other for bad thingies they have done.
That's the technical.
That's what I learned from.
No.
That's what I learned from smoking weed and watching Law and Order. Your husband and wife can't do it. Can't talk about it.
Yeah, once you get married, you can actually do anything.
You can. Like, she won't tell about the hard.
That's why people do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
Incredible.
Beautiful thing. So what ends up happening is that on the plane or on the helicopter, which why are they on a helicopter by themselves? It is revealed. He reveals that he is the killer, and she says, "I know. I have the evidence hidden in a safe place."
So this ending is supposed to take place after she finds his little shoe closet stash of evidence.
Exactly.
And sees that he was the killer.
But before she sees this very convenient video clip of Tom Berenger in his murderer's outfit on surveillance camera, murdering the woman who looks exactly like Sharon Stone.
No, because that's the reshoots.
Right. So, but
that part doesn't show up in the original.
So she finds the closet of evidence.
Yes.
But in this version,
she's cool with it.
Marries him anyway.
Marries the man. You can understand why this doesn't test very well.
I mean, that tracks for this character.
She does like to watch.
A lot of bad choices.
And to be fair, and let's be super fair to Sharon Stone's character in this like alternate universe that was supposed to happen. How many dudes are you going to meet that have a wall of cameras and can watch a whole building's lives as they happen?
Well, that was the most.
If you're into this, you got to take that chance.
That was the part of this movie that I liked the best. Was the part where she was kind of like, you know what? Maybe this is my thing. She starts watching his surveillance videos. She's kind of getting into it. She's like, you know what? Maybe I'm also a psychopath. Like, let's get into it.
If the first thing, if I'm introduced to that technology someday by a lover, and I'm coming into this thing and I'm sitting down, and within the first minute of enjoying like my newfound voyeurism, someone's like, that guy definitely bangs the little girl, by the way. That happens all the time. And I'm like, oh, well, I guess I'm out on all of this because that's the thing you wanted to tell me first. Not that's like that guy's inoperable tumor is going to get better. He's going to be fine. Like
he can't see else. The future, Jack.
Not until Word Perfect 97.
That's what I'm saying. He's already
had that in 93.
Word Perfect 97 and AOL Instant Messenger.
But like the fact is, he's had this technology this time enough that he's been able to.
He's been watching this old man molest this girl, and it's not till Sharon Stone shows up that he's like, you know what, I'm gonna do something about it.
Like until she like basically like judges him for not doing something about it.
The love of a good woman. What we're learning through a whole lot of these bad movies, the love of a good woman makes people better.
You just want to talk about Class Act again, and we're not talking about Class Act.
I really wish we were talking about Class Act.
It's not happening.
Yeah, he should actually be arrested for not reporting him soon.
Right.
Exactly. And he also has video footage of it. So actually he's in possession of the
and
stuff.
He's admitting that he has watched it right to her. Like, this is him being like, if you're into it. And she's like, ooh, no. And he's like, yeah, we got to do something about it.
He's like, yeah, no, me neither.
Yeah,
no.
like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, take this hint.
Everybody has to
Sharon,
have like, it's like,
get out of there.
You have to have like safe words in these sorts of relationships. Like, and he tests the waters with like putting the like the telescope in her apartment.
Right.
So that's like okay, I'm just trying a little bit to see how it is. Ooh, I like this. Then he brings her right to video cameras, like, which is just like, it's honestly being like, here, smoke this joint, and then like a couple days later be like, have you tried LSD? And then also the moral that, while you're enjoying this LSD for the like first time, it's like, you know, PCP is this really amazing thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you go, wait, I'm not into PCP. He's like, oh no, me neither. We should definitely call my dealer and tell him.
No, just acid, please. The moral ambiguity meter goes from, I never really thought about voyeurism because my husband was very boring, to
It was very boring.
this telescope, I can see people banging and I know they can see me as well. To I am full on capable of controlling lives in about 38 hours.
Life comes at you fast.
It does. I appreciate the fact that this dude was like, think about the psychotic, like step skipping that this dude is doing, and just being presumptuous enough to be like, I gave you a really nice telescope. We've spoken once on the elevator and I bought you a really nice telescope. That's a pretty wild step to take. And then to be like, she used the telescope. So now I can introduce her to the fact that like I control lives.
This is a movie
that I'm a
about
minor
brainwashing.
god.
This is a sexual brainwashing movie.
This is a cult.
How many
But all the
telescopes
victims
do you
die.
think he's bought? Like just ballpark it. How many telescopes has he bought for female tenants in this building? 20?
At least 4. At least like 4. I mean, he
Yeah.
probably bought one for the old guy. I'm counting everyone that died.
Everyone who died had a telescope. You know,
bought
if
one
C-
that
C-
night
my
and
good
then
CCH
he
Powder
built
put
it.
all those lines together. Oh, they all had telescopes. That was the one thing. Aha, we find out who has it. And then there's a big like receipt from Home Depot for like, oh, you bought them in bulk. That's the
He
guy.
Really
Get 'em
nice
before he jumps
telescope,
into a
gold
volcano.
telescopes from Home Depot in bulk.
That's the guy.
This movie is so terrible.
He's
Do you
got
wanna-
2 rooms. He's got telescopes and then the TV room. That's all.
Actually, I think behind the TV room is the telescope room for storage.
Yeah, exactly.
It all makes sense. When you own the building, it makes sense.
I own the building. It's mine.
That's a very good Baldwin impression.
Oh, he's really good. He's special in this film. Oh, he is special in this film. We haven't really.
And he's so much younger than her, like
Yeah.
4 whole years.
Yeah.
Makes such a big deal about their age difference. Like
I think that what they really meant that it was like, he is disabled. Like, why are you? Don't hang with this. Like, did he tell you he was a computer something or like made video games? No.
Wait,
No.
are you saying that computer abilities is a disability?
in the
like,
dating
I'm
department,
saying
yes.
that, like,
Under the
he's lying,
ADA?
like he's lying about that. He just plays a lot of video games.
Right.
When does he have time to do this job he purports to do? He's sitting in this room
Yeah, I want to see the video
doing
games
nothing all day.
he's created, because I don't believe he's actually able to do any of it. These
I
two
believe he
different
made
things.
RPGs.
I think
He
it's
created a video game called Life. Are you guys fucking kidding me?
Oh,
You know what I mean? Boom.
I do.
That's the point of the film. No. I mean,
He
clearly
just got
that's what
incepted.
clearly that's his video game. I mean, or that's what we're supposed to believe, right? No,
I believe
Am I
so,
the only-
yeah.
Am I the only one that came away with that?
I think you've achieved
You've
something
cracked it
profound.
open.
You've achieved something profound that we didn't catch in this. Was that computer video game designer was much more of a meta thing than we had originally.
It was all code for
Right.
watching everyone and controlling their lives. No,
Huh.
I think that's it. I think you did it.
Fair.
Is Life the ultimate computer video game?
Yeah, this was the first movie that really posed that question. You know,
I
it
think
had
like that and Lawnmower Man are the 2 films. And maybe
Oh.
Lawnmower Man 2.
And the net.
You know what this movie has that none of those movies have? That very few movies have? An
Sorry.
Inception bang.
I'm sorry?
They're watching themselves bang and then they start to bang. They're so hot at banging. They're such hot shots at boinking that they
Yeah.
start boinking while
That's
watching themselves boink.
yeah.
Now, name another movie that does that. This is an invented thing, unless you're going back and like watching old porno or something, I guess.
Sex
Yeah,
live
he-
and videotape.
Thank you.
Oh, nice. I never saw that. I purport
never
myself
saw
to be
that?
a sexual.
No,
A sexual
You just said-
stop
thriller. I
now.
never saw
Stop
it.
now.
No, I know.
Go watch that movie.
I know. I'm realizing
we'll
that.
keep,
back.
talking, we'll keep talking for the next 2 hours. Then you come back in, and then you can play.
You talk to me about James Spader and Andy McDowell. and
Okay, first of all, I want to talk about like Basic Instinct spawned because look, Basic Instinct was like the most popular and watched and iconic bang flick of all time.
Bang flicks.
And it, you know, it really had a plot. So you could call it an erotic thriller. It kind of like bends the line. It's a genre.
I'm not sure I understand your distinction about
Nor should
what
you.
is a bang flick.
But
is a
since
bang flick
after-
just an erotic thriller where you find the female protagonist attractive?
No, it's the ones where there's not a whole lot of plot and there's just a bunch of people banging. And then afterwards you're like, why did I watch this film?
This movie had tons of plot.
It's had tons of plot and actually relatively little banging.
Plot.
It wasn't good plot.
None of it
didn't
ever
connect.
happened.
All the connection was the banging.
This movie had little banging. What the hell have you guys been watching? Jesus.
Yeah, I know, right?
We've
There
been
was a
watching
lot
straight
of banging in this
pornography.
movie. There was a scene where they banged and then she got out of bed and they were like,
And
let's
then they did it
bang.
again.
It was like, okay, I'll bang you.
That
They
counts as
banged
one
while they were
scene.
watching themselves bang.
That's one
How
bang.
much banging do you need?
I mean, that's one bang in my book.
I'm with
That's not
you.
a whole thing.
Have you seen the movie Unfaithful?
Oh,
Yes. Oh, absolutely. That's
that-
a classic.
If you
That's
want
a lot
to,
of
if you
banging.
want to make this absolutely obscure definition of a bang flick,
Uh-huh.
that's a bang flick
100%.
extended
That's a-
bang.
because they fucking all the time,
They bang constantly.
everywhere.
She bang.
We get the
Is
whole.
that with Richard Gere?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I did see that movie. with
He's
my
the kind of
dad.
the king of the bang.
That was the worst movie to see with my parents. Oh god.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I remember that.
no.
I remember that one. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
that's terrible.
I can't say that I can't one up you because that is that, but I can say as in commiseration, I saw Monsters Ball with my parents, which
Oh my
has Halle
God.
Berry having sex with Billy Bob Thornton and saying, "Make me feel good. I want to feel good."
That
Yeah,
is
Sitting next to my mom.
not great.
I did.
I have
also-
avoided a lot of this with my mom. She doesn't want that stuff, and I'm like, fair enough. We'll find something else.
Good
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
And that's why you're the expert on bang flicks because you watch.
Well, you
them
have
by
to. Yeah, I
yourself.
wanted to watch them in secret. It was illicit.
illicit.
Think about this after Basic Instinct, because like when things are popular, people make a lot more of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
In the 19, this was like the era of the bang flick. 92 Basic Instinct, same year as Body of Evidence, Bitter Moon, then Sliver, Last Seduction, Disclosure, Bound, Color of Night, that Bruce Willis bang flick, Jade, Linda Fiorentino.
Wow, yeah.
David Caruso.
All of these were on like HBO and Cinemax and Showtimes. They just passed them around and played them after like 10.
Well,
All
you-
very-
But all those movies are erotic thrillers.
Yeah.
Like, what is to you an erotic thriller but not a bang flick?
And maybe there's all just bang flicks. Like I
Maybe
don't
this
take
is
very
just
seriously
your-
the genre.
Yeah. I'm just trying
That's
to understand.
probably the issue here, is that I just like don't take this stuff very seriously.
Right.
They didn't
like,
make
these
it to
people
be
be banging.
taken very
It's a
seriously. They were
bang.
like, listen, someone died and we got to know who it is. But for at least 20 to 25 minutes, maybe 30, we also need to worry about banging and listening to Enigma and Enigma cover bands and a whole lot of like, really steamy scenes.
Mhm.
A lot of steam.
How do you feel about the Red Shoe Diaries? How does that fit into this?
that's bang.
I feel
That's
that's bang movies, dog. That's
Emmanuel.
like
See, if
level
you really
10
want to make
bang
distinctions,
movies.
Red Shoe Diaries, Emmanuel,
Yeah.
those are bang movies.
Those are
Yeah.
There is
but
no
that's
plot.
almost like,
It is just an excuse for
softcore
bang.
porn, which is a totally different thing. Softcore porn.
Softcore is different from a bang movie.
Okay, you've
Oh,
lost
most
me.
definitely. Most definitely.
You've lost me, Professor.
Okay.
Is this
This
going to be
felt
on the
like
test?
porn to me. I don't know.
Sensuality is what makes a bang
I never
flick
want to
not
hear you say that
softcore.
word again.
But that's
As
true.
long as I live.
He's
Like
very
how
effective in this movie.
how terrible is the sexy sax in the background? That's how you can tell if you're watching a bang flick or softcore porn.
Okay. All right. I can feel that. How much saxophone is in the soundtrack?
Right.
Well, the
That's
intro,
a big deal.
the intro song really sets the scene in this movie. That's one
Good
thing
point.
that really stuck with me as well. I think I wrote down, I know from the intro that there will be a lot of unnecessary nudity throughout for sure. And to me, it seemed like there wasn't that many sex scenes, but the ones that there were seemed very long
They were
And-
really long.
and just like to the point where I was like turned it down because I was like, oh, can my neighbors hear this? This is ridiculous. Like I felt like my parents were in the room. It was a lot. How
the Holy Spirit is watching you.
Yeah, I got
pictures
nervous.
around.
I got shy while I was watching those scenes.
Oh. Well, if there's any
it's also because they're unbearably sad.
Yeah, she's
crying and
yeah,
upset.
I was like, I shouldn't
they're
be
so
watching
upset
this.
about having sex together.
I shouldn't see this. This isn't okay.
I feel like there's also some truth that comes through in those scenes because, as it turns out, according to the director, Sharon Stone
was sad about having to bang
someone. So Sharon Stone and William Baldwin did not like each other.
Oh,
they did not actually like each other, and they asked to film as many of their scenes together apart as possible.
God, the things you have to do when you're hot, you know.
This really gets to the crux of the issue for me, which is that Billy Baldwin is the absolute worst possible person for this role.
The worst Baldwin.
Worst Baldwin by far.
Sharon Stone deserves a better.
Sharon Stone deserves so much better.
We have to do better for Sharon Stone.
And to pretend that Billy Baldwin is the guy who finally awakens her freaky instincts is just fucking upsetting. That guy sucks.
One of the reviewers on Rotten Tomatoes was like, how were these two people attracted to each other in any
They're not. They're definitely not.
You know, I believe it was Sartre who said, caring is the key to unlock the magic.
Is that Sartre?
Oh, no, that's the Care Bears, actually. Sorry.
Yeah, there it is.
That's the Care Bears.
No, that makes more sense. That makes more sense.
No, Billy Baldwin.
The guy that wrote a book called Pain.
No. I mean, obviously, imagine Alec Baldwin in this role. There's a weight to it. There's
literally.
You're thinking 30 Rock era, but yes.
Billy Baldwin was like 14 pounds in this film.
Yeah.
Yeah, Billy Baldwin's looking very scrawny,
man.
Looking like an art.
He's got the like shitty chest hair that's just up here above his nipples.
It was just two triangles.
It
was horrifying.
Like Cubist.
No. Imagine Alec Baldwin in this role. And Alec Baldwin coming straight off of Glengarry Glen Ross when he's in his fucking prime of intense, upsettingly
Bangflick should be a reward.
Yeah.
Your reward is you and Sharon Stone make out a lot for like
that's selling more DVDs or VHSs or whatever the hell we're selling at this time.
That's a movie I want to watch. But Billy Baldwin is the pointier, less scary brother.
He's not even Steven.
He's not even Steven.
No, he's not.
Who has
Steven.
his charms.
He sure caused a lot of trouble in that bubble. In Biodome.
We're not talking about Biodome yet.
Maybe next time. Yes.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah. We haven't turned on each other that hard yet.
Do you want to know who turned down the role of Zeke Hawkins?
I do.
Prior to
Pauly Shore.
Yeah.
If you say Pauly Shore, I'll leap through the screen and I'll strangle you to death. If you say Pauly Shore, I swear to
God. No, but it is still very topical. The two people who turned it down were Val Kilmer and Johnny Depp.
Oh, both better.
Val Kilmer would have been great. Johnny Depp would have been terrible.
Because this would have been Val Kilmer around the time of Heat.
Before Heat.
So Val Kilmer is still
probably couldn't have done it because of Heat.
He's still in proper hunk mode at that point.
Yeah, he's like post Top Gun.
Yeah.
But he would have come into this this role and acted like a neighbor instead of a dude that has been watching you on camera. You know what I mean? Like he would have been fun with this role maybe, or something could have happened. Billy Baldwin just was like, hi, I'm very seductive. Do you see how seductive I am? This is what we're going to do.
He just went all hunk, like no backstory.
No, none.
Yeah, like just like I'm just full sexual tension.
Which kind of keeps her streak alive of like dating very boring people.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, you know, her husband was a very boring man.
Yeah, he was very boring.
Yeah. But I mean, like, this movie gives Sharon Stone no options. And that's really part of why we're so upset about it, is that we absolutely were shown a woman whose choices were some creepy old man who approaches her in the market.
Who can't get it up. Oh, no, the old guy.
Then you've got...
That man's gay. I'm sorry.
I thought he was, but they didn't actually say it out loud. So I didn't necessarily make...
I mean, I don't know people's lives.
They made it seem like...
They coded him as gay.
They did code him.
That's true. I didn't even really kind of think about that, but yeah. That is...
So there's that. So that's one thing that they present as a choice, as if it was a choice. Then they say, you've got Tom Berenger, who is this, boorish ass who is 10 years older than you and looks 20 years older than you and is just a real son of a bitch in every single way. And then it's mysterious Billy Baldwin. If those were your three choices, in a city as small as New York, those are your three choices for romantic partners who live in the same building complex as you. You forgot golf alone in your apartment and have a really, really sad bathtub orgasm. That is an option, and she did take it for a little while, and it was the best option she had in the whole film.
Absolutely.
The New York Times review.
She was living the life and had no idea.
The New York Times review of this movie calls out the golfing in the first sentence. They were like, there are things, I think it was Janet Maslin with the review, was like, there are things that Sharon Stone should not be doing in a movie. You should never put Sharon Stone in a movie where she's going to be golfing. You should never put Sharon Stone into a movie where she's going to be doing laundry, was the other big one.
Wow.
And it was like you are degrading her essentially by making this woman do mundane things.
She was really, really boring in the movie.
Well, her husband was boring.
It was very boring.
Very boring.
And maybe it rubbed off on her, as it were.
Yeah.
But when she describes her job, she's just like, I'm a book editor.
Yeah, I didn't care about her character at all.
No.
That made the ending very tough for me.
The most she acted in the whole thing, other than the bang scenes, or when holding a gun or something, was when she was saying she didn't like Pavarotti for no reason, and hard name dropped the most popular rock band in America as the alternative idea, the crazy wild idea of Pearl Jam.
Yeah,
everybody's favorite fucking band is Pearl Jam. Oh, my monocle fell. Oh,
they were like the musical guests on SNL, probably that same month.
It might have been with her when she did SNL right before she did this piece of shit movie.
Entirely possible.
Because her career is so weird. It's so weird at that point because it's not Casino yet.
No, we're not there yet.
But Basic Instinct was huge. But also Last Action Hero.
And it's the
but
same
also Intersection.
Screenwriter. It's the same
also
screenwriter.
Sliver. Right.
The thing I wanted to say before when you were listing off those erotic thrillers is that Joe Esterhaus is the credited screenwriter behind Basic Instinct and Sliver and also Jade.
Yeah.
So it's
Jade, he did Jade. Wow.
This
guy really likes sex.
This guy
into
clean it up.
Right.
So you can understand why all of these people jumped at doing Sliver.
Right.
You had a director who basically was between Harrison Ford, Jack Ryan movies. So it's Patriot Games.
Oh my God.
After Patriot Games and before Clear and Present Danger.
Oh, fuck this guy.
So that's the director. That's the director. So the director jumps at the opportunity to do this thing. And then you get Sharon Stone fresh off of Basic Instinct.
You can't get anything hotter in the world. And this is what you did with it.
And then while we are really ragging on Billy Baldwin, and I think that that's fine, I have no objection to that. He had just done a Backdraft. So he was on
top of the world.
He was, sorry for the pun, pretty hot in Hollywood at that moment.
Boo.
No,
I apologize in advance for
that. I loved it.
Just
on so many levels.
To bring it back to the other Baldwins, Alec Baldwin had done Glengarry Glen Ross the year before.
Yeah.
Would have been an amazing choice. Would have really brought some.
Are you Alec Baldwin's agent? Why are you pushing?
It was for a time.
So wait, I feel like we've got enough people here that have been in or around book publishing long enough to discuss the marketing department of Sharon Stone's operating job.
Oh my God. The amount
Can we
of
talk
time,
about the marketing department?
oh my God. We're gonna move up the book date. We're gonna bump up the publishing date. The
How
number of
often
times-
have any of us ever heard of anything being bumped
Never.
up?
I worked in book publishing for 13 years in
13
New
years.
York City.
Yeah.
Let me
The big
tell
city.
you, and I
The
worked
Big Apple.
I worked in marketing in book
Mhm,
publishing.
mhm, mhm.
Marketing wants to move the pub date up on the James Dean bio.
Never.
It was never a sentence
Not one time.
anyone
Not
would
to
ever have
mention
said.
shouted at her as though if it didn't happen right then the
If
book
you don't
wasn't
get through
being
that
published.
manuscript this weekend, they can't move the publishing date. No, never.
There-
Not one time.
There's so
Never.
many wrong inverses that happen to some. Again, I think it has a lot to do with the fact that it was Sharon Stone again with Joe Esterhaus, the screenwriter, is that she plays a successful mystery writer in Basic
Mhm.
Instinct. So now she
Right.
works in book publishing. That's the inverse. She was a powerful femme fatale in Basic Instinct. Now she's a mouse coming out of her shell.
Now she's
Uh-huh.
a victim in a sexual assault, basically.
Like, it's just, there's so much that
Correct.
happens that is just seems to exist to be like, we don't want this to be too much like Basic Instinct, but we want to make it seem enough like Basic Instinct. So we're going to do that.
Okay.
Earlier, you talked about how there's nothing really stuck with you, Jeff. Like there weren't any particular scenes really that really stuck with you.
I mean, we
What's-
watched it twice, so I remember it a lot better this time around, but it's
Yeah.
like
What
when you bring the shit up, I'm like, oh, right. They did that. They
What
had
stuck
like
with
a
me
whole scene.
was the scene where she comes back to his apartment after basically saying that she was done for the night. And you see, as Massive Attack's Unfinished Sympathy, an amazing song,
Uh-huh.
plays in the background.
Yeah.
We see Billy Baldwin's ass
Sneak up sex.
shimmying up
Yeah.
for surprise anal.
Oh, right. Yeah.
It could have been vaginal, but I couldn't quite tell because, again,
Well, that is the
They're
mystery
dark.
of a bang flick, dog. That's what they won't give you that. You
Well,
got
that's
to pay
very-
the big money to
very,
see
well,
that.
I guess because they did. This was, I think, original. The original was NC-17, and they had to
Right.
scale it back to get it to R. So maybe some of the more overt references. I mean, they do talk about
Right.
anal intercourse, or sorry, Vida does. She refers to something.
I
as
talks
worse
about
than
it, maybe
intercourse.
quips. She quips about it.
This whole script is quips. The
It's
entire
all
movie
quips.
is quips.
The only other movie I've ever seen that's all quips is Tango and Cash.
Wait, you just blew my mind though, because she does talk about anal intercourse. Is
She
that
does.
supposed to be connected to that shimmy that we're talking about?
No, absolutely not.
We do find out that she's fucking him later in the movie.
I'm just saying.
No.
I think there's
And
a.
she
No,
said-
They've
that's-
opened the cock-sucking door.
That really stuck out as well. The cocksucking door.
when she
Really?
does it.
Of all of the
Worst
of all
curse
of the
word. I think that's
terms.
the first time that guy's ever said a curse word in his life. It really felt so strange.
Well, he is 4 years younger than she is.
That's true. He's so young.
And her
He's
husband
so
was
young.
very boring.
He was a very boring man.
Very boring. Yeah.
Very boring.
Oh God.
I want to play a little game.
Okay.
It's called Tom Berenger Red Flags.
Hit it.
Red flag number one. Going and talking to high-powered people who are in like, I guess, an executive ballroom for lunch. I've never eaten such a fancy lunch in my life. So I wonder where they were, or who they were hanging with. I want to hang. But walking up to those people and just being like, why haven't you read my book? And like throwing a hissy fit. Not the biggest red flag. Perhaps he was having a bad day, but red flag number one. number two, running at you, screaming in the park when you're just having a jog and thinking in the middle of broad daylight.
Yeah.
Red flag number
End
2.
of relationship.
That should be it right there.
Yeah.
Friendship over.
These, by the way, they escalate to the point of, the ultimate one, which is just like going into someone's apartment when they're not there and you're not invited.
Yeah.
And sitting in an armchair waiting for them to come home so you can
park.
confront them with facts.
Red flag. That was finally the one where she was like, maybe I shouldn't hang with this dude.
And she doesn't change the locks because he gets in again later.
Right. That's the thing, is she is presented with so many red flags and does not do a goddamn thing about it.
The only thing that actually changes her mind is walking up to him dressed up like a murderer, holding a murder victim, a bloody corpse. And she's like, I got to get out of this. I'm in too deep.
It's sad that it gets to that point before she realizes that, okay, this guy's really bad news. When all those red flags that you cited before that, and she had an opportunity to tell her friend who went away for a weekend with him, she neglects to tell her friend about the horrible stuff this guy has been doing.
That's a real neglection of duty, by the way. Let's just, you tell your friend, who appears to be her best friend because it's the only other woman you ever see her speaking to.
Right.
You tell this woman, by the way, this man jumped out at me under a bridge in Central Park dressed as a fucking mugger and assaulted
and then hit on me relentlessly afterwards.
No, you don't let her go on a weekend trip with that man. They
went to Montauk.
They went to Montauk together?
Yeah.
You wouldn't let your friend do that. No.
Fuck no. First of all, there's other cities, but also not anywhere. Do not travel with this man.
Do not get into a taxi cab with this man.
Don't go to a second location with this man.
No, do not.
This movie fails the Bechdel test literally and spiritually. Women are,
I think, more so
failed by this film.
Oh, God, what a piece of shit.
Before we get to the voting about whether or not this is a good, bad movie, I need to make a little confession.
Oh, God.
A little confession about why I chose this movie.
Oh, no.
So 1993, this movie comes out. I'm 14 years old.
Oh, God.
And prime Gary watches MTV. And I care very much about all kinds of music. I'm absorbing as much as I can from every source. And I hear UB40's cover of Elvis's Can't Help Falling in Love. And I go, oh, this is a jam. 14-year-old, this is a jam. And the reason why it's a jam is because I see this music video, which is intercut with scenes from the film. And my impressionable adolescent sex brain goes, this must be what sexy music.
Song good. Yeah. Song
good. So fast forward 15 years. I still at this point have not seen the movie Sliver. I did not watch the movie Sliver until 2022. For this show. I'm getting married in Las Vegas to my first wife.
Not me.
This is not my first wife.
Right.
And we decide, in terms of bucking tradition of, religious sort of things, we're going to get married in one of them Elvis chapels.
Excellent choice.
We get an Elvis impersonator who happens to be from Queens, which is great. We're like, wow, this is great. And the guy says, all right, I'll do 2 songs for you. You tell me which songs you want to do. And I forget which one my now ex-wife chose. But I immediately chose Can't Help Falling in Love with You because I had heard it in 1993 in the music video. And all I could think was, this is the sexiest song I can think.
What was the phrase they would put in the little information thing? It would be like, from the movie Sliver.
Yeah.
There'd be a whole lot dedicated
Yeah.
to from the movie Sliver, UB40.
From the motion picture.
But that's it. The motion picture. My apologies. You
Yeah,
nailed it.
So I want you to understand that this movie has been occupying space in my brain since 1993. And
So this exercised some demons for you.
it took me until 2022 to actually watch it. I needed to pick this movie for the podcast to close a circle that had been open for decades.
This was an exorcism for you, basically.
This was a release for me.
Oof. Yeah.
Is it like the release that Sharon Stone experiences in the bathtub by herself?
I'm about to cry.
Listen, what is Tom Berenger's motive for killing this first woman? What is it? Why? Why did he kill this person? We're never given any reason whatsoever. We just get all of the red herrings, and then they actually turn out to just be regular herrings. They were perfectly fine herrings. And we were throwing them out. We were like, nope, not this one. Not the one that was cradling the dead body in the killer clothes.
They attempted to establish something
Okay.
in the scene where Sharon Stone,
What do you think
through
it
her
was?
telescope, sees the neighbor Vida
Right.
giving Tom Berenger a
Money.
bundle of dollar bills, whatever,
Right.
some money.
Yeah.
Right. Her modeling money.
Her modeling money for something, and they haven't.
She also has a sort of weird coke habit that they sort of
right.
did
So
in
is
front of
Tom
us for no reason.
Berenger? Is he a drug dealer, and that's why they're having this exchange on the
Maybe.
street corner? Even though they live in the same building, and it would be very easy for him to just come upstairs and do this exchange in the privacy of her
But
own
she
home.
understands the red flags, and she only will meet him in a public place.
Right.
That's the difference.
Except
So
Sharon Stone is watching.
So what is the motive though?
There's
Like, why does that matter at all?
It doesn't. And they never
Right.
explain why that matters. What
Right.
are they doing? What are they arguing? Because they have an argument.
She
before
brings it up
she
later
gives
to
them
the
money.
cops.
No,
And they're just like, cool, great detail. Moving on.
there's
Well,
nothing.
About
I felt like this movie was
CCH Pounder does nothing.
This movie is ageist because it definitely sells you as like this old creepy guy is the fucking murderer for no reason. And just Billy Baldwin is cool and innocent at the end. I don't understand.
I do want to point out that Tom Berenger was 45 years old when he made this movie.
Creep.
So,
Creep out.
He's like,
God.
he seems even older and worse than
He's way older.
he seems like he seems like he's like 60 in this movie.
He was the only one that we never got to see him bang, which is
true.
great. And it's because they were like, I wonder if they showed up to set and were like, you know what? I think we're just letting all the hot people bang.
No.
You're just going to be
Like,
the
I'll
guy
do
that
one.
creeps around.
I'll do one. All right. Billy Baldwin, and that's it.
Thespian Tom Berenger has limits. And
Real.
when they called him and the actress who played Naomi Singer, the original blonde from the beginning, we all forgot about, when he called them back for the reshoots so that they could make the scene where he is revealed as the killer, they wanted to shoot some BDSM stuff, some real kinky stuff to help establish sort of the nature of their relationship.
Huh.
And both he and the actress played Naomi Singer outright refused to do any of that. So they tried, but Tom has integrity.
You know what? Thanks, Tom.
Thanks,
Because
Tom.
of that, we didn't have to see it. And I appreciate you
go
for
through
that. man.
that. Yeah.
You
yeah.
got to know when it's not time to do that. You got to know. You got to know it, and you got to exercise your rights. And I appreciate you, Tom.
You are appreciated.
That, however, means nothing for the motive of why he killed this person. My theory. Do you have a theory, Ben?
No, I have no theories at all.
None. Gary?
I'd love to hear yours.
No, you don't have one. So you don't have one. That's what we're hearing. Okay.
This movie doesn't need theories.
It's because he's impotent. And she found out and he had to kill her.
So why didn't he go after
Otherwise-
Sharon Stone's assistant?
Well, I think that was, just a bad plot hole.
Oh, really?
Fair enough.
You know what I'm saying? But like
Yeah.
she is the one that introduces us to this idea that he's like both uninteresting and not able to have sex. That he's a terrific bore and a slouch.
Mm-hmm.
And it's mentioned, I feel like, again later on, but I don't fucking remember when. By the end of this movie, both times I was just high as a kite and just writing down movie bad. Why Gary make watch movie? That's an actual note. And it came after he said, the second time I watched it, and he said, it's my building. I own it, or whatever. I own the building. It's mine. Like, yeah. I just was like, why watch movie? Why
so Jeff, is this a good, bad movie?
Are we voting?
We're voting now.
Wise men say that only fools rush in, but I can't help hating this bad movie. Mostly though, because they were so mean to the doorman who was hustling. He was trying to do his job, and everyone in there shit on that guy.
For no reason. They're all shitting on the doorman.
Like they were so mad at him for coming up and apologizing for like missing one time when someone was coming in with bags.
They're absolutely. No, I'm with you. Every time they mentioned the doorman, it was derogatory. It was about how they were lazy and they didn't do their fucking job. And it wasn't just one doorman. It was every doorman in that building. Is that any way
to treat one half of your black cast?
No.
This is the most racist movie I've ever seen in my life.
See, I saw it as definitely it was a way of parodying these rich white people by making them be the kind of things they talk about in private is how much they dislike the people of color in their world that they have to deal with. Like they should have been complaining about the maintenance guy the whole fucking time.
Who was
how many times the lights went out in that goddamn building.
Absolutely.
Instead, they focused their racist rage on the doorman who wasn't there to help open the door one time.
Okay, I'll answer whether I think it's a good movie with just from the street drumming scene on, I was out. I was offended. I was triggered. And that movie, that should be cut out of the current version of that movie.
Bad.
I like to think I'm not very sensitive, but that was highly unnecessary for a movie that has only black characters. I think at that point, only one black character had been in the movie so far. And then there's only like black cops and doormen. So, you know, it felt like a time warp in that way. I will say the style of a lot of the stuff was kind of good. And some of it kind of held up visually in a weird way.
It did, didn't it?
Yeah.
I was distracted by how bad everything else was, but it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Sharon Stone had a lot of outfits that while we were watching it, I was calling out like this outfit would 100% hold up in Williamsburg right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
She was the leggings, the oversized t-shirt, the kind of off the shoulder. She was 100% on point with her style.
Hipster icon.
Absolutely.
That's like a part of her like whole thing from that era, especially. Everything she was in was like, could be an iconic look.
Yeah.
She just crushed it.
Yeah.
So I'll give her an A+ on that, you know, but I guess that's not even fully her. That's whoever was, you know, whoever did wardrobe did.
It takes a village.
It takes a village. Yeah.
Wardrobe was the only thing that wasn't nominated for a Razzie about this film.
Yeah, oof.
That's true. Yeah, but it didn't win any Razzies either. Didn't win any Razzies either.
Because it was out the same year as another awful bang flick that also had an Inception bang scene in a way, which was Body of Evidence with Madonna.
Correct.
Ooh.
It truly, I was like, I have never seen this. And I went back and watched 20 minutes to like research for this. And I was like, I can't do this to myself. Research. I mean, like, yo, that's research. You got to watch Bang Flicks for the Bang Flick episode.
You didn't even 20 minutes. You didn't even get
awful.
through the hot wax scene that everybody was talking about.
No, I just went and I found it on the internet and watched the Bang scenes.
Where specifically on the internet did you find it, Jeff?
That's not of anyone's accord here or business, to be honest with you. I don't understand why I'm getting the 3rd degree here for working really hard for the podcast, a complaint you have had in the past, sir.
So was this on a porn website, perhaps, Jeff?
I wouldn't say. Zeke's website.
I plead the 5th Amendment.
Zeke is going to find you.
Zeke Hawkins.
Zeke knows. Yeah, ask Zeke.
He's been tracking you.
He's had plenty of time to replace all of the TVs that were shot because we never discussed the original ending, which is total nonsense.
The actual ending of the film where she decides to solve
get a life
television screens and get a life, which Joe Esterhaus insists he did not write into the script. He insists that producers added in lines like that. There was nothing that he had anything to do with.
Get a life.
Yeah,
probably because they wanted it to be the tagline of the film, but it ended up being, "Do you like to watch?"
Ooh, yeah.
I don't. You set yourself up for that one. I don't like to watch it.
Well, okay, so we've got 2 in the not a good bad movie category. Regan, care to weigh in?
No, this is a bad movie. It's bad. It's very bad. It could have been good. There were moments where
if Alec Baldwin was in it.
If Alec Baldwin was in it, this would have been her favorite movie.
Pretty good movie.
Pushing for it. Remake with Alec Baldwin.
We need to level up 2 levels on the Baldwin here, and we'd be all right.
I mean, it's just an easy comparison because of the Baldwin.
Of
yes,
course.
Either Baldwin would have been better than Billy Baldwin, the worst of the Baldwins. But also, this would have been great with a Michael Douglas, with any of the men of the erotic thrillers. Maybe a David Caruso, although
he had done.
You haven't seen Jade, have you?
Douglas had done a lot of these already.
He's,
you know what I'm saying? Like, he was in a lot of thrillers and a lot of sex scenes and stuff. And like, I feel like he was way better than this movie.
Yeah, no, Bill. It's just that Billy Baldwin gave us absolutely nothing.
Totally. Billy Baldwin kind of made this seem like it's above everybody because he was so below it.
Right.
It's so bad.
Yeah. There's nothing about his presence that leads you to believe that Sharon Stone's character would be drawn in the way that she is, would be, sexually, mesmerized by him in the way that we're supposed to believe that she is. There's nothing about this person that drives the movie. And the whole movie is with this ending that apparently was, revised for the
yeah.
For the
I don't think the ending was going to change my mind about this being a bad movie.
No, there's nothing about this man that makes it happen. He has nothing in terms of presence, sexuality, whatever.
What was the RT score on this?
This was a 11%.
11. What do you think it would have been with that other ending? You've seen it. You've seen the other ending.
I have seen the other ending. It would probably be about a 7.
It would be worse. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Is it would be like 5 to 7, somewhere in there.
Jeff,
it's
your time now. Just go on and gloat. Go on and just say, "Oh, it's a bad movie. I'm winning." Yada. Do it.
Unlike anything that happened in the movie we watched today, I'm going to shock and surprise you here. I just want to get right into my pick.
You don't want to have any time for your little bragging rights. You puff up your little chest over there. No,
I don't. I don't want that right now.
Wow. Okay.
You know why?
Why is that, Jeff?
I'm obsessed.
You're what?
Do you want to know what that means?
Yeah, I do.
It means we're watching Beyonce Knowles, Idris Elba, and Ali Larter in 2009's Obsessed.
We're watching what?
Obsessed.
There's a movie with Beyonce.
There's a movie with Beyonce, Idris Elba, and Ali Larter. It came out in 2009. 2009. And it was directed by a man named Steve Schill.
I don't understand any of what you've just said to me.
You know what's gonna happen to you? You're gonna become obsessed. Well, I've never seen the film, so maybe not. Who knows? Let's find out together.
I guess we're gonna. I didn't. I haven't seen Beyonce in a movie since Austin Powers in Goldmember.
Oh boy. Well, you're gonna get a lot more of her. A lot more of her. It is 2 hours and 17 minutes long.
Wow.
So prepare. All's fair when love is war. Obsessed.
It's the Cabbages Podcast Network.